Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Alexander Gabretsky, and today I'm going to present you the library Folium, which you can use with the programming language Python. I'm going to do this presentation in the context of the Master's course Data Analytics and Finance and Accounting at the Goethe University of Frankfurt. And yes, let's start with the structure. First of all, I will tell you something about the library, some theoretical things. Then I will go ahead with the how to install the library, some main functions of Folium, so the basic idea behind Folium, and then kind of use case. I just already used Folium, the library Folium, for my bachelor's thesis, so I'm able to show you maybe some more complex things, or basically I just show you my main results which I get using Folium. So first of all, the library itself, of course, there's documentation which you can find with this link. And what is Folium all about? It just allows us, basically it allows us to generate maps for the browser. So it uses Leaflet, which is actually a JavaScript library for interactive maps, which makes it really powerful. Why? Because with Python itself, we are able, as you already have seen in this course, we're able to really easily work with data, really powerful programming language, especially with, by working with data sets. On the other side, you have Leaflet, which helps us to work with maps really easily. So to combining both is makes Folium a really powerful library, and I think especially in the last part you can see, as I just show you some real-world results, data results, you can see how powerful it could be. And yes, so installing should be clear. So that's the command for the command line, and then here for Anaconda, especially for beginners, I would recommend to use the Anaconda. Also here it's the environment of Jupyter, so using Anaconda you can basically can install each library really easy with this statement. After installation you can import a Folium really quick and then start by working with this library. Let's start with the main ideas or main functions. So with the Folium.map statement, you can easily map like a basic map. So you have different parameters like the location, which is like the center or the starting point of your map, with the latitude and longitude, and optionally you can also use the zoom start level, so it's the initial zoom start. What I did there, or what I did here, is to assign this code to my variable m, which I then saved as an HTML file. You can find this file in the directory or path of your code, which is in my case here map.html. I already opened it. So what you can see here is directly Frankfurt am Main. So it was the location, the code, so the parameter location, and the code latitude longitude was basically the one of Frankfurt. So what you can see here is that you can really work interactively. You can just move around, you can just zoom in, so you can also see our university, the campus West End, and so on. So it looks really similar, really looks like Google Maps, for example. I think everyone knows Google Maps, everyone has worked with it already, so nothing more for now, but as I already mentioned, it gets more powerful. Additionally, you can use you have a tile set in Folium, which you can choose different tiles. That's like the default value OpenStreetMap. Here you can see the map of Barcelona. As you can see before we just saved the map as an HTML file. You can also save it, or not save it, but just print it out directly in your environment. As you can see it here, you have here the map of Barcelona with the tiles OpenStreetMap, and you can choose different tiles like here and here. So you can just play around a bit with the optic of your map. So let's go ahead with creating a marker. First one, this is like the basic statement which I already showed you. And additionally, to add to the statement marker, you just use folium.marker and insert some parameters like the location of the marker, the pop-up, so the label for the marker, the tooltip, which I already assigned to the variable, which is a string click for more info, which just basically display a text when going over this map or over the object. You can define the icon, and what is really important is to add it to the variable you already created above. So again, you can save it or just print it out directly. And what you can see is it's again the location of Frankfurt, and additionally, which is this part, you can see a marker with the icon, info sign, and if you just go over it, you can see click for more info, and if you click on it, you can see Goethe University Frankfurt am Main. Actually, it is the Goethe University. And yes, what you can also do is to work with the circle function. It's basically the same from the ID behind as the marker. Again, you have some parameter. Again, don't forget to add it to your main map as you already add the marker to our main map. And then you can see here the circle, the blue circle, and click on it, Frankfurt downtown, as we assigned it here. What you can also do, what is more powerful, is to work with JSON or Geojson files. This is just a link, and behind this link is the data. You can just click on it, which we can find here. This data is JSON. Just JSON file. I know it looks really, it doesn't look really pretty, but we have already talked about it last week in the class. And this is kind of data in which you can see the geometry or the coordinates of the states in the US. So you have like Alabama, and you have the coordinates behind it. You have Alaska and the coordinates behind it, and that's for each state in the US, Arkansas, and the coordinates behind it. And what we are going to do is now, as I already mentioned, the basic map, which is assigned to the variable m, and with this JSON file, we are able to create an overlay with the different states in the United States. So with folium.geojson, we just assign a variable with the file and add it to our main variable, and then you can see you have America, and on top you have an overlay with the borders of the different states. So these are like, of course, there are thousands of more options and functions of Folium, but these are more or less the basic ones and the most interesting one for the beginners. What I'm going to show you now is, I think, some more advanced things, which I just did for my bachelor's thesis, in which I analyzed the crimes in New York City and high school graduations. I just show you some parts or some solutions of the part in which I analyzed crimes in New York City, which is basically about a data set with the crimes in New York City between 2010 and 2016, and you can see here the precincts, which is a shapefile, but nothing else, more or less from the ID behind, the same like the JSON file. Here again we have here the borders, but this time the precincts, the police precincts, which is like a sub part of a neighborhood. So based on these both data sets and Folium, I was able to create some nice maps. Just ignore the pre-processing thing, and here you can see the code for the coral leaf map. First of all, also I will just upload the whole code or the whole file here after this video, so if you're interested in, you can just take a look in detail after it. Otherwise I will not go too deep into it. The same for the heat map. I created a coral leaf map and a heat map based on the crimes and the precincts of data I had. So what are the results? First of all, the coral leaf map. To understand it is, first of all, just the map of New York City, as we already created it for Frankfurt or Barcelona. On top of it, there is this overlay, which is in shapefile, which gives me the precincts for the different neighborhoods. For example, this is Staten Island, in which I have 4 different precincts, and on top of it is a curved leaf map, which gives me the number of crimes for each precinct. So you can see here the legend: crimes in New York City between 2010 to 2016. The more dark or the more red it gets, the more crimes we had in this area. So you can see like 3 different areas in which we have a huge amount of crimes, which are also marked with the circle marker, which I already explained before. And so, as you can see, it's really powerful, especially in the analysis. If you have a huge data set, as I had with millions of data, it's really hard to analyze it. And especially if you have like data which has a geographical background, it's really powerful Folium to analyze it really simple and to make it understandable for each kind of person, even persons who doesn't have IT background or programming background, because I think this kind of map should understand everyone. So beside a curved leaf map, I also created a heat map. A heat map is nothing else than a kernel density estimation, and what you can see here is the density of the crimes in New York City. So if you just go more into it or zoom in, you can see it more detailed, like places, specific places in which you have a huge amount of data, which are like kind of hotspots of New York City. And that's what you can see. Again, a pretty method to analyze the data or to analyze the crime data set and to plot it. It's really beautiful to, I think, nice and beautiful to plot it and to understand it. So yes, that's basically it. These are like additionally 2 maps I just wanted to show you, like based on real world data, what kind of problems you can solve with this Folium. So as I already said, I think it's a really powerful and interesting tool, which makes fun to work around with. So yes, that's basically it. Thanks for listening, and bye.